Vedanta Limited has informed the stock exchanges, the National Stock Exchange as well as the Bombay Stock Exchange, that its promoter group, led by Vedanta Resources Limited, has expressed the intention to delist the company from these two stock exchanges. It has also informed that the promoter group is holding about 51% of the shareholding of the company, whereas the remaining shareholders, that is the public shareholders, hold about 49% of the shareholding of the company. Now, all shareholders other than the promoter group are called public shareholders for the purposes of the delisting. These public shareholders hold about 49% of the shares of the company. The promoters of the Vedanta Limited have also indicated that they are willing to pay the price of about rupees 87.5 for each share of Vedanta, which is offered by the public shareholders at the time of the delisting. They have informed that this is about 9.9% premium over the closing price of Vedanta on 11th of May 2020. Now, after this delisting information came in the media, many shareholders may have their own concerns. Some of the shareholders might have purchased Vedanta shares at a very high price. It may be noticed that the 52-week high price of Vedanta was in fact about 180 rupees on the National Stock Exchange. And in fact, the lifetime high price of Vedanta may be something around rupees 500. So if a shareholder had purchased Vedanta shares at a much higher price than what is on the offer, that is rupees 87.5 per share, then those shareholders may not like to sell the shares and may like to wait for some further period to decide whether they should continue to hold the share so that their initial purchase price may in fact be surpassed. So now the shareholders may have some concern whether they would be forced to sell the Vedanta shares at this price, whether the price will be hiked, how much time will be taken to delist the share, what will happen if these shareholders do not sell their shares to the promoters at the time of the delisting of the company. So let us have a look at some of these issues. Firstly, let me point out that it's not that the delisting process will be completed in a few days' time. The process may in fact take a few months' time. And in the meanwhile, if suppose some of the shareholders go to the courts and try to bring some stay against the proceedings of delisting, in that case, the delisting process may further be delayed. Vedanta Limited has also scheduled its board meeting on 18th of May, that is this month, after a few days. Now, in this meeting, the board of directors of the company will be considering and also approving the delisting proposal submitted by the promoters of the company. Now, before the board of directors approves the delisting proposal submitted by the promoters of the company, the board of directors is required to appoint a merchant banker to undertake due diligence of the company. After considering the report of the merchant banker relating to the due diligence, the board can approve the delisting proposal submitted by the promoters. Once the board of the company approves the delisting proposal, then the shareholders' approval is required to be taken for this delisting proposal by way of the postal ballot. Now, the shareholders' approval for this delisting proposal requires a special resolution to be passed by way of postal ballot, which basically means that minimum three-fourths of the shareholders of the Vedanta will have to approve the delisting proposal. Another requirement for approval of the delisting proposal by the shareholders is that minimum two-thirds of the public shareholders, that is the shareholders who are other than the promoters. So minimum two-thirds of the public shareholders will have to approve the delisting proposals. Otherwise, delisting of the company cannot be proceeded further. The company may also have to obtain consent and waivers from the lenders of the company. Now, after this process is completed, the company is required to submit application to the National Stock Exchange as well as the Bombay Stock Exchange for in principle approval for the delisting proposal. Both the stock exchanges are required to take a decision on such application within a period of 5 working days. Now, once such in principle approval is given by the stock exchanges to the delisting proposal, after that, the company has to make a public announcement with respect to the delisting proposal. Within a few days of that, the company is required to send offer letters to all the shareholders of the company. In the offer letters, the promoters have to indicate the exit offer price which will be offered to the shareholders. This exit offer price will be determined through the book building process as per the delisting regulations. After fixing of the floor price as per these delisting regulations as per the takeover regulations of SEBI, depending upon how many shareholders respond to such offer letter and take part in the bidding process in the book building process, the final exit price will be determined as the price at which shares accepted through the book building process takes the shareholding of the promoters group to 90%, minimum 90% of the paid up equity share capital of the company. That means if the delisting process has to be successful, a minimum of 90% of the total shareholding of the company has to come to the promoters, including their earlier holding in the company. I may also point out that the final exit price so determined is not binding on the promoters who are proposing the delisting of the company. They can reject such final exit price and in fact give another counter offer. In this way, if the promoters don't agree to the final exit price, then the delisting process will end there itself. But if the final exit price determined through the book building process is accepted by the promoters, then they will make the payment to the shareholders who have sold their shares to the promoters through this book building process. And after the success of this process, a public announcement will have to be made by the company. As I mentioned earlier, a minimum of 90% of the equity paid up capital of the company has to come to the promoters after this process of delisting. Otherwise, the delisting process may fail. In case the promoters are able to get a minimum of 90% of the shares of the company, in that case, after payment to the shareholders who have sold their shares to the promoters, the company shall make a final application to the stock exchanges for delisting of the shares. And once the stock exchanges are satisfied about the legalities of the process which has been followed, the company shares will be delisted from the stock exchanges. Let me now answer some of the remaining questions on this issue. Firstly, what will happen to those shareholders who decide not to sell to the promoters at the time of the delisting proposal if they are not satisfied with the price being offered or if they otherwise don't take part in the delisting process? Now, all these remaining shareholders after delisting of the company still have a chance to sell their shares at the same exit price which was paid to the shareholders who had taken part in the process within a period of a minimum of 1 year after the delisting of the shares. That means the remaining shareholders can still sell their shares to the promoters for a minimum period of 1 year after the delisting of the company. So they still have an exit route. In fact, it may be in the interest of the promoters themselves to purchase the remaining shareholders' shares if they are willing to sell even after the delisting of the company is complete. The second issue relates to the offer price for the sale of shares by the shareholders to the company, to the promoters. So, will this offer price be ultimately only rupees 87.5 per share or it may be higher? In fact, as I indicated earlier, the final offer price will be offered by the promoters only after the special resolution has been passed by the shareholders for the delisting proposal. And as I mentioned, the exit offer price will be determined through the book building process and after fixation of the floor price as per the delisting regulations of SEBI and also the takeover regulations of SEBI. So the actual offer price which will be offered by the promoters may be much more than rupees 87.5, or it may in fact be less than that also, depending upon the market conditions prevailing at that time. But generally speaking, the offer price is likely to be more than rupees 87.5 per share. Another question is, suppose some shareholders don't sell their shares to the company during the delisting process as well as within 1 year after the delisting is complete. What will happen to those shareholders? Well, these shareholders will continue to be minority shareholders in the company. The company will be not a listed company, but it will still continue to be a public limited company, and those shareholders will continue to be minority shareholders in the company, and it may so happen that the promoters may still purchase their shares at a fair value, which may be equal to or more than the final exit price which has been decided during the delisting process. But if these shares are still not sold by these shareholders, they can still continue to hold those shares. Nobody can stop them from holding those shares. And they will also continue to have their shareholders' right, which are guaranteed to any shareholder of a public limited company. However, after the delisting process is complete and the company is delisted from the stock exchanges, thereafter any remaining shareholders will find it very difficult to find buyers if they want to sell their shares. They may perhaps have to sell the shares to the promoters themselves, because otherwise not many people may be interested to buy the shares in a company which is not listed on the stock exchanges.